Hello, I am excited that you're here, and I have a question for you. What business are you in? Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, the business I am in is, and then you're naming your business, right? But that is not the business that you are in as the owner or key leader of the business. And I want to share that with you today and my powerful method for letting go of more, doing less, so that your business can grow. Are we in? Are we in for this? Are we in for this? Okay. Well, first I want to introduce myself. My name is Emily Hawkins. I spent 15 years in the corporate world, streamlining processes for productive results, leveraging time and teams in 3 countries, managing millions of dollars, and I just got really passionate about it and knew that I wanted to take this outside of the corporate world and teach other people how to embrace who they are, what their talents are, and leveraging the teams around them. So I left the corporate world in 2017, opened my own business, got that sucker to $1 million, leveraging my time and team. And now I am here to teach you how to do this in your business. Whether you are the owner or a key leader inside of a small business, this applies to you. So today I want to talk about a powerful method of doing less, because I think that we struggle with the idea of doing less. Right now, when I say to you, do less, what is your initial reaction? Stuff's going to fall. Stuff's going to fall apart. I'm going to be living in a van down by the river, right? My business is going to go under. I can't do less because, all the things, right? What if instead I told you that the future success, the present and future success of your business hinges on how little you do? The less you do, the more your business grows. What? I know, right? This feels counterintuitive. And I understand this because I am somebody that's a reformed doer. So I am somebody that spent my entire life putting my worth around how much I could do. I can outwork everyone I know. I will outwork you. I'm fast. I'm a doer. I can do 10 things at once. I'm a multitasker. La 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 la, right? That was my identity. And I'm here to tell you that that identity is a scary one and something that we all need to let go of. So the reason I want you to let go of it is because you are so much more than the effort. You are so much more than a task. You are so much more than a process. You, my friend, are a visionary. And visionaries are the people that actually see things before they breathe life into them. They see it, they envision it, they're ahead, and then they come back and share it with others to actually breathe life into it and create services, offerings. Really good example of this is if I told you many years ago that there was going to be a transportation company that didn't own any vehicles, you would have said, that's crazy. But now we have Uber. And if I told you there was a hospitality company that didn't own any real estate, you would also say, what? They don't own any hotels? And then there's Airbnb, right? All of this came from visionary thinking. And those visionaries understood the value of the space that they need to have those visionary thoughts. So let's talk about what you're in the business of. Because I alluded to this earlier, but I want you to know that you're in the business of becoming. As a visionary, you are in the business of becoming. So what happens when you become? Well, I'm here to tell you that in order to become something, You have to leave something else behind, also known as shedding, right? Shedding our perspectives, our identities, and our tasks. So if you are becoming successful, and I believe that you are successful, but if you are becoming more, which all of us are, I can tell you this, whether you embrace this idea or not, you are constantly becoming. Do you know how I know this? Because we were all born into this world as tiny little babies. And yet, here we are, not tiny little babies. And whatever you look like today will be gone over time because our body turns over cells constantly. And so the cells that made up me when I was born no longer exist. They are literally gone. So I could become larger, an adult, and then my cells are constantly becoming something different, shifting, shaping over time. That's why when you look at a picture of a baby and that same person 5 years later, and that same person when they're 15, and that same person when they're 35, they're constantly becoming. So the choice is, do you want to actively participate in the becoming? Or do you want to just let it happen to you? Well, as a small business owner, as a visionary within the company that you have created, as the key leader in this business, you signed up to be an active participant in becoming. And by being an active participant, it means 3 things. It means that you will constantly shed old beliefs, old identities, and old tasks to become and elevate and communicate and support the team that you are creating and that you have made for this business. And those people on your team will support and elevate the customer with this new vision. But all of this only happens if you start the process. So I like to think of it as you are on a hike and there's a guide with you on the hike. The guide is always in the front, right? The guide is the person that is in the very front. And they are the ones that go first. And then they call back to the rest of the group. Hey, it's safe to walk on this log. It's safe to go this way. Let me show you the way. So what are they doing? They're seeing what's out there. They're testing it. And then they're communicating back to the rest. Here's where we're going. You as the visionary must go first in the shedding process. You must let go of what you've always known to let in those new ideas and new perspectives so that you can then communicate and support those behind you, supporting you. And then they can support your customers, right? And so let's talk about the 3 things that I want you to shed, that you must let go of. And I really want you to think of this as a rocket ship. So if you know anything about rocket science, this is a very basic thing because I know literally like nothing except for this because I think it's fascinating. In order for a rocket to go up, it must weigh as little as humanly possible because it doesn't matter how much force they put behind it in the rocket piece, that thing has to weigh very, very little. It's like birds, you know, birds weigh very little. Their bones are hollow so that they can fly, right? Well, in order for a rocket to go up, they have this down to a science that they weigh every piece of cargo, every person, every equipment, every item of clothing, toothbrush, whatever it is that goes on that rocket, it is all weighed because they know they cannot go over a certain weight limit. And the goal is to make it as light as possible because it has a much better chance of lifting off and actually going to space. Well, you, my friend, are a rocket. Your business is a rocket. And in order for you to continuously move up and elevate the business, you have to let go of 3 things. Not once, not twice, but continuously. I want you to think of your business and your life as a figure eight, something that is infinite. That is really what a figure eight is, right? It's infinity is the symbol I'm making here. And for this infinity to continue and to never stop, it is a series of letting go to let in new perspective. That new perspective you understand and you communicate it back so that your team can let go and have new perspective. And you can do the same over and over and over again. Now, you might say to yourself, oh, but I've been told that I need to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. Okay, for your business to run, I very much believe that it needs to run on consistency. The question is, where does the consistency come from? And what type of consistency are we talking about, right? So if I told you that, 100 years ago, people did really well in door-to-door sales. So we should consistently go door-to-door selling stuff. Kind of old, right? Probably not something that works anymore. Now, if you did it consistently, you would either go to prison because, well, maybe not prison, maybe jail, because actually that's against the law in most areas now to go door to door selling things, or at least it's frowned upon, right? You're going to get the police called on you. But it worked at one point. So my thing to you is you need to constantly be shifting your perception of what consistency looks like and those tasks that you personally need to do. The business needs the consistency, right? But do you need to be the person that is doing those consistent activities? It's funny because most business owners get into the line of work that they're in as small business owners because they wanted to do it a different way. They wanted a change. And they can get a little bit of shiny bauble syndrome. And shiny bauble syndrome is actually a great skill for a visionary. But the thing is you need a team behind you that can catch the ideas, vet the ideas, implement the ideas, and consistently run and grow the business, right? So I want you to be the visionary that you want to be. I want you to own these amazing ideas. But you can only do this by embracing your becoming, which means embracing the shedding. So let's start with perspectives. Now, one of the greatest things that I think 2020 gave a lot of small businesses is perspective, right? Perspective and identity shifts. Perspective meaning, well, we've always done it this way, right? We have always run our businesses from a brick and mortar perspective. And yet, a lot of businesses realized we could do things online. We could do more private, intimate, one-on-one things with clients in a time that allowed that behavior. A lot of businesses thrived in 2020 by embracing a new perspective of what their business could be. And that required them to let go of some of their old perspectives. We are always a brick and mortar. We are only a brick and mortar. I am only a yoga instructor in person. I have a friend that owns the Yogi Flight School, and she had a brick and mortar business that did well, but it wasn't as profitable because she's got a ton of investment in property, right? Space. Well, 2020 hits and she all of a sudden has to take her business to a different level. Her perspective was that no one would purchase working with her or doing anything with her over the internet from a virtual perspective. But she challenged this perspective by looking at what she needed to shed, which was this perspective, for a new identity, which became the Yogi Flight School. She actually closed her brick and mortar so that she could open more spots and more time in her virtual Yogi Flight School. She actually lives in another place now because of this. She can be a digital nomad if she wants. And it was all because she was willing to shift the perspective of, we've always done it this way, right? Now, another thing I want you to think about is your identity. What identity do you need to shed to get to the next level? I'll give you some examples. I am unorganized. I am overwhelmed. I am a perfectionist. I want to caution you about the words that you put after the word or phrase I am. I believe that blasphemy comes in many forms, and one of those forms is by speaking ill of yourself. I believe that whatever you put out into this world is what you get back. And the words that you put around yourself, you will find and get back. I am enough. I am resourceful. I am successful. I am becoming more of myself. I am worthy of more success in my business. Ooh, right? I would much rather you say that. I feel like when we say things like what's a great one? I'm going to give you an example of a client that I worked with. And in fact, I'm currently working with this business. I am a puppeteer. Yeah, one of the companies I work with, they are a puppeteering company. Now, this story is fascinating. The man that owns this organization always looked at himself as a puppeteer. I'm a puppeteer. I put on shows. I make puppets. It's Worlds of Puppets, by the way. You should look them up. Fascinating. I am a puppeteer. I am not a business owner. I am not all these other things that I'm not even an internet person. I don't like the internet. I think that the internet divides more than it brings together. These were stories that this man once told himself until 2020. And then, if he wanted to eat, all of the shows that he was doing where he was going there were canceled, of course, right? And so he had to shift. Who am I? Well, I am identifying myself as an in-person puppeteer. But why? Why is that the only way I can do things? What else am I? I am creative. I am resourceful, and I'm a connector of people. And because of this new identity and the help of his wife, he was able to take this business online and bring the art and gift of puppeteering, making the puppets themselves, creating puppet shows, to an entirely different audience of people. And he was actually knighted for this work. Yes. Because he was able to let go of the identity that he once had. I am an in-person puppeteer. To let me share this gift. Let me be the teacher of it, not the doer of it. So fascinating, right? And I will tell you, over the years, one of my identities was I will outwork everyone. I will outwork all the people. But when you're running a business, it's not about how hard you work. It's about how smart you work. And so letting go of the identity that I had for I am a doer, I am the person that needs to do all the things, for I am becoming an innovative business owner, or I am an innovative business owner, because I really love using I am. I am an innovative business owner. Well, what does that mean? I have to drop off. If I'm an innovative business owner, that means I have a team of people. If I have a team of people, that means that I am communicating to those people what it means to be an innovative business owner. See where I'm going with this? Now that you have shift your perspectives, let go of some old perspectives, let go of some identities around who you have perceived yourself as being. I want you to let go of one more thing. I want you to let go of tasks. Oh, this hurts, right? It hurts because sometimes we hide behind those tasks. There's something that I learned a long time ago called buffering. You may or may not have heard of a buffer, but we all do it. Buffering can come in many forms. Drinking alcohol, food addiction, sex addiction, drugs, binge watching Netflix. Any of those things are actually forms of buffering. But there's another form of buffering that you are not aware of that you are doing. And it is keeping tasks on your plate because you know how to do them. They are familiar to you. Why is this buffering? Because as a visionary, you are supposed to be doing things that haven't been done before. Looking out into the future, what hasn't been done, conceptualizing those things, not living in the doer world of the things that are currently being done, that consistent behavior that keeps the lights on in the business. That's not your job anymore. Your job is to constantly look past what is going on currently to becoming that innovative business, right? And so, in order to do that, you got to let go of some things. But that starts to scare you a bit, right? And that's why, let's go back to this infinite cycle. And you are letting go, right? So you have to let things go, tasks, which means in order to let those go for new perspectives to come in, you have to communicate those tasks. So you see how this all works. You learn a new task, you learn a new skill, you learn the thing, and then you elevate. And the way you elevate is by teaching that new skill, that thing to your team so that you are moving to the next level. So if this was something that inspired you at all, I would love it for you to book a strategy session with me where we can actually talk through the things that you personally need to let go of so that your business can make it to the next level. We'll build out a plan for this. We will talk through exactly what your specific needs are for your specific business model. And if that is you, I want you to type SHIFT in the comments, SHIFT, and we will chat soon. I am excited for you to become and be the business owner that your business needs by doing less.